Alright guys, so today's video we're going to be checking out something that is definitely different than what we normally check out on the channel. Now this is a pair of earbuds, it is Bluetooth so it's wireless, so you know for the most part it does associate with what we normally talk about. But the product we're going to check out, which is the Jabees BHearing, it's a personal sound amplifier. It's more for people that has suffered hearing loss or people that have a hard time focusing when someone is talking to them. That's what this product is for. But it does play music, it does work with an app, there's a lot of different things that it does. It does come in retailing at $200, but the company did send out the code Gamesky 30, which you guys can save 30%. So on their site, you could technically pick these up for only $140. But we do need to check out all of the features and everything that comes inside the box. We do need to talk about the sound of what you can hear as far as your surroundings goes. And we also need to talk about the sound of the music, because if you're going to use these for listening to music, that is still important. But the main thing is we still need to see if these are worth the $140 price tag. So to start with, the first thing that you're going to want to do is download the BHearing app. And that's important because it goes through a hearing test to see if you can hear different tones. It also has a different method where you can use your camera to take a picture. It will guess your age and guess about how good your hearing is. So I don't know how accurate that is, but I did go through the hearing test itself. But once you go through that setup, it allows you to go through this sound enhancement option into the app, and that's where you can switch between different modes. It has a general mode, which is basically what you would use in an office environment or home or just anything in general, but it also has modes like restaurant mode. So that's obviously a situation where you're going to be trying to hear people right here in front of you, and there's also going to be a lot of noise with people talking around you that it's trying to block out as well. And then there is a traffic mode, which will focus a little bit more on automobiles. So if you need to hear horns or cars coming and things like that. And then there's also an outdoor mode. So that kind of just amplifies a little bit of the surroundings around you. And it just makes it easier to hear in each one of these situations. Some other options that you have is there is a levels option. So you can change if you feel like you need to hear a little bit more out of the left or the right. There is a 5-band equalizer, but this only focuses on the microphones. So you can't EQ the music in any way, but you can EQ your surroundings. And then the only other option in the app is what's called INR. And what it's doing is it's trying to control sudden loud sounds. So if a car crash happens or just an explosion or anything, instead of it just peaking and blowing out your ears, that will tone it down in a way. And there's a slider so that you can adjust how much that you want it to do that. So as far as being able to hear the things around you, there's a lot of customization here. And I think that's important because obviously that's what this is geared towards. So now let's talk about how good it does at trying to amplify the things around you. Now, when I put them in my ears, it automatically has it where it's just amplifying everything. And I did have like a box fan going in my office, and immediately it was much louder. And when I sat in my chair, that was louder. You could hear every little thing. It's so weird because we don't normally hear that way, but everything is just being amplified that much more to a point where I can see this benefiting people that do have hearing loss. Now, I don't necessarily know if this is a hearing aid replacement because I've never had to use a hearing aid, but I can easily hear that it focuses on certain things, especially if somebody's talking in my direction. It makes it a lot easier to block out a lot of unwanted sounds around me. Now, as far as using these outdoors, it is only rated at IPX4. Now, I'm a little concerned about that because IPX4 is kind of like at the bottom. And if you're somebody that needs to use these all the time, if it starts to rain, or if you're in a situation where you're sitting by the pool or the beach or anything where you could just all of a sudden get splashed or they get dropped into water, having that low IP rating makes me a little hesitant to recommend them to somebody that needs them for everything they're going to do throughout the day. And speaking of using these all day, the battery life is actually very interesting the way that it's done. It comes with these little batteries that you can switch out. It's very small, and each battery holds 5 hours. But it also comes with this portable charger that you would put the batteries in to charge. So you actually charge up the portable charger and not the small batteries themselves. And as far as the batteries, they hold 5 hours on each battery. And with the recharge cycle that you get out of the portable charger, you're going to get about 20 hours total. So 5 hours on one battery, and then this portable charger will charge a battery 3 times. So once you take the battery out, if it dies after 5 hours, you would put it in this, you would take out the one that's in there and charge, switch it up. And so that way you're never left with any downtime during the day where you need to charge these. So I do understand why they did this, but one thing that I really don't like is it uses a micro USB cable. I haven't had to say this on the channel in a long time, but I absolutely hate micro USB cables because everything at this point should be USB-C. Now, as far as anything else that they've included in the box, you actually get 6 sets of ear tips. There are 3 that have the double flange design, and then there is also 3 that have the ear hooks. Now, the ear hooks just kind of help keep them in place, keeps them from moving around. So if you are going to use these at the gym or if you're going to run outdoors, it's nice that it has this. Now, they've also included this really nice zippered hard case. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit larger than earbud cases because it does house the whole neckband contraption itself. But you're also going to want to keep your portable charger in here. You could also keep the cable, you can keep the ear tips. Basically, you could just have everything with you at all times. Now, moving over to looking at the actual neckband itself, I do like the design of this. They do have clips that you can slide up and down the neckband to be able to adjust kind of where you want the wires to start to come up so that you can put them in your ears. And as you can see here, there is a magnetic connection at the very tip of the neckband. And I like this as well because it kind of keeps it from sliding around or feeling like it's imbalanced. And there is a slight magnetic connection between the earbuds. That's not as strong as it is on the neckband itself, but if you are done using these, you can connect them, just leave them here, and everything just kind of stays right there in a V shape, right there in front of you. So I do think there was a lot of thought put into this design. Now on the right side is where your controls are located, and I am happy to say that they do have control over everything. So you have your play, your pause, you can skip your tracks forward, you can go backwards, you even have your volume controls, and they also added the ability to switch between those 4 different preset modes. So now let's get over to talking about how good the microphones are on here. Because they're so good at being able to pick up your environment, you would definitely think that they're going to be good for phone calls, and you would be right. I think it does a very good job of focusing in on my voice, and it also does a very good job of blocking out all of my surroundings. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here.
All right, guys, so here is a mic test using the BHearing. You can obviously tell that that's the focus of this product because I feel like it just picks up my voice so well, and it sounds better than most other mics that we hear on earbuds. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here is a mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call public.
So now let's talk about the sound, because if you're going to use this for listening to music, obviously that's going to be important as well. And you can tell that there's not as much focus here as there is on hearing your environment. You can definitely tell that they're still focused on hearing vocalists because the mids are the most forward part about listening to music. It seems like vocalists are always center stage, they're right up front. Now the bass does have a nice little kick to it, but it is very controlled, it is not overpowering, so you can tell they're just trying to pull that back a little bit. And the treble does have a slight boost to it, so you can hear details of different things very clearly. So this is a more detail-oriented earbud for listening to music, which is a positive if you're going to listen to podcasts or watch TV shows and things like that, because dialogue is always up front. But for music in general, this would not be my first choice. But I will say that the soundstage and the sound imaging are excellent on these. It definitely sounded very open, and being able to tell where things are coming from, these just handled with no problem. So my overall opinion on these is definitely it comes down to who you are and what you need these for. If you're just looking for a neckband style earbud to listen to music, there are much better options out there. But if you are somebody that does have some sort of hearing loss or have a hard time focusing when people are talking to you, or if you're just in noisy environments all day and you want to focus on certain things, This is an excellent product for that. I've tested some other things that do offer this, and the mics on here are picking up some of the best that I've heard, and it definitely focuses in on what you're trying to focus on. I do wish the app was a little bit better. I do wish that there was some EQ options for the music, because then you could have a little bit more control and use it for music and not feel like you're holding back because you needed to hear other things around you. But guys, that's my video on the Jabees BHearing. I know this is a different kind of product, but it still kind of sticks to what we normally talk about. And if you're somebody that's using headphones and earbuds all the time and you listen to them loudly, you probably have some sort of hearing loss. So you may need these in the long run. But guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.